And when you visit outlook.com using private browser window, you will get these buttons here like sign in, try premium, and there is one more button at the down, create free account. Use that button and create your own free account. First of all, you can give your own unique name @outlook.com. Next, finish. Can you do that first? Hello.
Yes.
Right. So first do this, create a new private browser window and create an account in Outlook. After you create Outlook account, then you have to visit this website Azure Pass. Wait a second, I don't remember the URL. Here it is, microsoftazurepass.com. After creating it, visit this URL, right? And when you visit this URL for the first time, you will notice there is a sign in button on the right corner. Can you see that? Yes. Click on
Yes.
the sign in button. And after you provide your Outlook account, like for example, let me use my Outlook account. Now this is an old account, actually, not the new one. You should use new one. By the way, to tell you frankly, I'm not eligible for Outlook, for the free trial anymore now. Fine. After you log in into this, you will notice that your name and your email account will appear here. Can you see that? Hello?
Yeah.
And you will have to cross check whether this is a new account and not one of your existing account. So what you need to do, use the sign in at top right corner. OK, now here log in with the new account and then verify if it is a new account. Verify the account in the page. OK, Microsoft email. In this page, the account mentioned here in the page must be exactly same as your newly created Outlook account. Once you do this, now if this is a wrong email address, please sign out and sign in again in a fresh browser window, which is again private. If it is good enough, click on use this account and then it will ask you for promo code, and promo code is all of you have received it in an email. So please do up until this. OK. You must have received a promo code in your inbox. Check that. Yes, I'm waiting for you to complete at least this much of process.
Can I do this a little later? No, if I'll be doing it tomorrow, is it fine?
Yeah, that's fine, but make sure you follow all the processes properly. Let me tell you why. In anywhere in this process, if you get stuck or let's say while doing this process, if something goes wrong and it says that your passcode is invalid or something, you will not actually receive a new passcode. So you have to be very precautious about whatever you are doing in here. OK, so I'm just sharing the steps with you anyways. And there is one more thing. If you go to the website here, the website will give you a guide on how to use this thing with a screenshot and everything. OK, let me show you that. When you first visit Microsoft azurepass.com, wait a second. Here it is. Can you see the link?
Yeah.
This link will tell you how to redeem the account, like sign in, verify that you have signed in with correct account, enter the promo code, then it will take you to Azure Pass sponsorship page. Here you need to enter country, first name, last name, phone number, right? Email address, click next, accept the license agreement. Now there might be multiple checkboxes, right? Select only first one, agree to subscription agreement and sign up and you are good to go. Let me share this link also with you. Fine. Others, please do it now.
Once I entered the promo code, I can click on claim promo code, right?
Yes, claim promo code. But make sure that you have correctly used correct email ID before you click claim button.
Yeah.
So it says enter promo code. So promo code is the Azure
Yes.
Pass code that we have
Yes,
received.
yes, yes. That's the one Kiran has sent you. Okay.
Okay.
So once I entered, it's asking me to accept the agreement. So I can click on
Yes,
sign
yes,
up, right?
yes.
Okay, so I have entered the promo code and it has took me to Azure sign up page. Am I
Yes, yes,
supposed
this page. Now you are supposed to just provide your details like country, address, and phone number, and click next, next.
It's not essential, right? Because I have two Outlook accounts,
Mhm.
and one of them I have already used my phone number. So phone number is fine, right?
No, no, it's fine. Phone number is fine. Anyway, it's
And
not actually going to validate it at this moment.
Okay,
and
okay.
we should have to mention the organization name,
Which name?
Organization.
organization,
Yeah, yeah,
organization name.
organization name. Yes.
And this same account would be used for scheduling the exam as well, right?
No, for exam scheduling, you should use your actual means any other account, other personal account. It
Okay,
may
so
or
it
may
is
not
not
be same.
necessary.
No, no, it's not necessary. Okay,
Okay,
your
okay.
exam account and your Azure Pass account can be different.
Yes, and I can able to create RG. So it's working.
Yes, great.
Yeah, I logged in and Microsoft homepage is showing now.
You should get Azure portal. Do you
Yep,
mean Azure
Azure
portal?
portal.
Yes. Now go to the Azure portal and search for subscription there. Subscription. You should be able to use the search bar here. Find the subscription, and it should display subscription name as sponsorship.
Yeah, it's showing Azure Pass sponsorship.
Yeah, that's right. Then it's done. Then
It is active. It's calculating the cost.
No, sir, I am on portal.azure.com and I have to search for subscriptions on the search bar.
yes.
I don't get anything like Azure
Wait.
Pass or
Are
something.
you able to search for subscription?
Yes.
Then what did you get under subscription? You are not getting anything inside it, or are you getting a message you don't have any
Oh, okay.
subscription
Yeah, Azure Pass sponsorship. It took a time to
sponsorship?
load little.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's fine. That's fine. Network
Okay.
delay a bit.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's fine. So this is how you have created your own Azure Pass. Now use that account and password to log in into Azure Pass every time. And you will use it, or you can use it now either for 30 days or till your entire $100 Azure credit is expired. Okay. Okay, then. I hope by now everybody has the subscription. Now about VMSs. I wanted to show you a demo of VMSs. For what I will do now, I will show you one very interesting demo on VMSs now. What I'm going to do, let's say I will just create a storage account first. Storage account. Okay. And in the storage account, okay, I already have one. In the storage account, I'm going to create a script. Let's go to the containers, blob container. And inside the blob container, I'm going to create a script now. Oh, looks like I already have one. No, this is a different one. Sorry. Let's create a new file here. What I'm going to do now. This is the script. There is one file already there. Where is the upload button? Oh yeah, here it is. Let's upload a new script. But wait, I don't have that script ready. Let me create a script first. Okay, I'll just create a new one right here. Okay, so the script I'm talking about is, I'll write it like this. First, Debian front end is equal to non-interactive. Wait a second, have I written a correct one? Okay, it's without underscore, non-interactive. And then let me just do the basic installation step. apt install nginx-y. That means I'm just trying to install a small package on all those VM called nginx. After that, I want in there to, kind of add some document in there. Index.html. But before that, let's go to user share. Oh, wait, it may not be user share nginx. Yes, I am forgetting some things here. I have some ready-made script created some time back. Instead of writing a new one. Yes, I should just pick the existing one. C drive. Users. Mahindra. Okay, I'm looking for an sh file. I guess this might be the one. Yeah, this should work. Just have to add the Debian front end on the top. This script will work just fine. Now let me tell you what the script will do. The script will install the necessary web package, and it will create a home page with message hello from and then IP address of machine where the script is running. So it's a very small, extremely small and lightweight web app. Okay, and I'm going to upload this to my storage account here. So let's click on upload button. And it was right there in my user directory, user Mahindra, and name of the script is install.sh. Here it is. Fine. Now, why I'm doing this? There is a very interesting feature available in Azure called custom script extension. Have you seen custom script extension?
No.
Okay, so what it actually does, it allows you to run a script on all the machines at once. So you just have to define the script once, maybe test it on your local machine, and then go and run it on the entire VM skill set with multiple instances. Okay, fine. It's uploaded by now. What I will do is I will keep it here ready. And let's now create a VMSS. Now this is going to be an interesting demo. You can see VMSS. I'm going to create a new virtual machine skill set now. Here I will choose a resource group or maybe create a new one. App RG. Oh, it's already there. App 2 RG then. And here, let me give it a name web. Then choose the location. Let's say I'm choosing location here as East US. Availability zone, you can distribute it to multiple availability zones. And then operating system, I'm using here Ubuntu 20. VM size, I just want to use a very small VM size here. And password based authentication. Probably you know these options, right? If you have created virtual machine, it's same. Only thing is, instead of just one virtual machine, I will be creating multiple virtual machines together. Okay, these are basic values. Then let me select disk type. What storage disk to use? Okay, now let's select the standard SSD or standard HDD, whichever one you prefer. No need to add additional data disk. Network will create a new network. This will automatically be done by Azure portal. And this is very important part. Can you see the option here? Do you want a load balancer? Yes, I need a load balancer so that I can, send a request to just one IP and it automatically gets distributed everywhere. All the settings already done. Scaling part, I just want, let's say 3 instances. I'm done now. Let's go to the management. Nothing to select. That's fine. Health, I can enable health monitoring. Health monitoring means whether our application is up and running. And now advanced. Nothing as such here, but I can definitely install some extension. I can do that later also. Tags and review create. This will create virtual machine scale set. Now this time I have not yet added that custom script extension. So just wait for 2 minutes here.
So is the concept of like Azure scale set, I mean, auto scaling, or it's a different one?
Yeah, there is an auto scaling concept in virtual machine scale set. You can let virtual machine scale set automatically scale itself. I will show you that also after obviously installing the script.
But both the same concept, is it? Or
No, they are different concept. Auto scaling is a different concept and VM scale set is a different concept. Auto scaling is not only for VM scale set. You can have auto scaling for other applications also. Like some databases also have auto scaling. Some PaaS services also have auto scaling. Okay.
so what will be the major difference actually?
Auto scaling is one of the behavior of scale set. Scale set is the actual resource. Auto scaling is one of the feature available in scale set. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, looks like it's still going on. I'll have to wait for a minute or more. Okay, looks like they are ready now. Go to the resource and let's see them. How many instances are there? I have got 3 instances, but all of the instances are unhealthy because as per the rule, there is no web application installed in them. That's fine. I'm going to change that now. Let's go to the extensions. Can you see the option extensions here on my screen? Click add and let me add one custom script extension here. Custom script for Linux. This extension I'm going to install now. This extension require your script should be already available at some storage account. So let's pick that storage account, script folder, and this is the script install.sh. How to run it? sh install.sh. This is how to run it. Create and let's wait for it. So let's go and check the installation now. Oh, wait, why it is saying it's not found? Oh, something bad happened here. Anyway, I will just go back to the VM skill set now for a time being. This is the VM skill set I am looking for. Go to the instances. Now they all need update. I have inserted a skill set, a custom script extension that need to be installed on all 3 of them. So select all the instances and can you see the upgrade button? This will make sure that all of them will be updated with the extension that I have installed few seconds back. Let's wait for them. Okay, I guess they are all updated now and they are all healthy as well. Now let me show you something interesting. I can now take the IP address. This is the public IP of my VM skill set. This is actually IP address of its load balancer, not the VM skill set, but the load balancer. Let's see what happens if I try to access it. Oh, wait, I guess I didn't create NSG. Did I create NSG? Hello? No, I guess I didn't create NSG. Let's do that one. Sorry, but we need to do that. Otherwise, it won't get an access. Let's go to the networking here and let's add one new rule in NSG. We need to allow HTTP port. So in service, I'm going to choose HTTP service. Where is the option? HTTP. So I'm going to add here option to enable HTTP service. OK, adding it now. Just wait. That's the reason why it was not able to load. Once you add HTTP service option, just wait for a couple of seconds and refresh. Am I getting a hello from 1804? Can you see that? Now, let me open another private browser window and copy paste the same IP address here. OK, I guess I'm getting all the response from the same page. Let's try CMD. Browser might be actually, kind of loading the same page again and again. Let's try curl. Do you know curl command? It will actually like a miniature browser. Anyway, can you see here if I use curl? Every time I make a request, my request is getting processed by a different server. Is that clear? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. OK. Yes. If you want, I will share the script with you, the one that I used on those Ubuntu Linux VM. OK. Custom script, the one that I have used here. So that you can try it out on your own. Do you want to try this VM skill set now? Hello?
Yeah, sure. And what is the difference between ARM64 and x64? I mean VM architecture.
That's CPU type. Whether you
Okay,
want,
just like
yeah, this is just a
physical
CPU
CPU.
type.
Okay.
Yeah, physical CPU. You know,
Okay.
CPUs comes nowadays in ARM as well as 64-bit Intel, right? Okay. And for Linux, actually, you know, ARM CPUs, not just Linux, sorry, ARM CPUs are, you know, much faster than typical x64 CPUs. Okay, because
Got it.
obviously they are designed differently.
Come again.
ARM is little faster than AMD or 64-bit processor because they are designed differently from
Okay.
Actually, earlier we had a problem with that. Means ARM actually contain less number of instruction set than standard CPU, right? But that I don't know how they achieved it, but it doesn't look like it's anymore a problem. To give you an example, uh, all new Apple MacBooks are now using ARM CPU. M1 and M2 are basically ARM CPUs. Okay. And even all your Android phones, they use ARM CPU as well.
So here it's asking for adding disk, which means like whenever the new VM is created, it will come along with the disk that we are creating, is it?
Yes, it will have only disk for operating system. You may add one more, what you can say. Okay, fine. So we will continue then. Virtual machine scale set is basically that feature. Another feature we get is batch, but unfortunately our subscription doesn't support HPC. So we will just explain or we'll just try to understand what is batch. Batch means a background task that requires compute intensive task or task that requires higher CPU and RAM or overall higher set of resources, many resources, let's say. Okay, now let's continue. So batch basically is a background task, a heavy task. Fine. Now, how Azure Batch work? You create batch as a service. You choose the compute type. You provide the connection pool or VM pool. Please remember, Azure Batch behind the scene uses very powerful virtual machines. There is a pool of virtual machine. Pool means there will be multiple virtual machines it will use behind the scene to carry out the task. Any reason why it should use multiple more than one machine to carry out single task? What benefit it does provide? There is something called parallel execution. What is parallel execution?
Couple of tasks can execute parallelly.
Yes. You can split your work in multiple, you can say jobs, like one single task complete, split into 3 jobs and pass it over to 3 different machines so that they can run it parallelly. And this is what batch jobs are actually known for. So you will have pool. Pool contains. Yes.
Sorry, do we really need to pass it to different machines or different processors like i599? So having more processors also will help.
Yeah, having more processor will also help. That's right. But in that case, you are still using same network and same memory. You know what is benefit of having multiple node?
Multiple nodes, sir?
Yeah, multiple node or multiple VM. If you look at the diagram right now, it will provide further isolation. Just running it on multiple CPU core is basically multi-core application or multi-threading application that you are talking about. Is that clear?
Okay. Yeah.
Right? It is even beyond that point. Entire machine dedicated for the task. And this is actually used for heavy duty tasks, not for simple tasks. Okay. Azure Batch is also a heavy service not available for free tier users right now.
Can I get an example of heavy duty tasks as in where we can fit this scenario?
Just a minute. Yeah, what you were saying? Example of heavy duty task. I gave you example, no? Like for example, archiving the entire database or performing a sync, database sync. Okay. Let's say there is an application where you have a local database that will, maintain the data, and there is another database where all the data need to be transferred later on. What you can do is you can partition your data into multiple, you can say slot, and each one of them will run on a different machine. Okay. You can also use batch for any other kind of task that requires high amount of computing power.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, next is app service. App service is relatively easy. App service is actually not infrastructure service, but platform as a service. And when I say platform as a service, what is it? What does it mean?
No need to bother about operating system.
Yes,
and
you don't
hardware
have to
and all.
bother about operating system or hardware or even installing and configuring the
Lack of
packages.
cost.
Yes, at lower cost. Please remember app services, they are not completely cheaper or lower cost than VM because they still have one small concern. In VM, if you stop the VM, Microsoft will start charging you for the compute, that is CPU and RAM. But even after you stop application service, you still have to pay for it. There are only 2 ways you can stop the charges. Number 1, scale down your app service to free tier or simply delete it. Is that clear?
Will this session be available after it is completed? I mean, the recording.
I'm not sure about that. Okay. Fine. Let's see this. So app services, they are PaaS services. This is how we use the PaaS service now. Just give me a minute. Okay, now there are lots of ready-made stack available in Azure App Service. Like, are you building a PHP application? Then you will choose PHP. If you are building Node.js application, you can choose Node.js. You are building Java application, you will choose Java. But the problem is Azure cannot provide all the runtime stack. It will just provide the most commonly used runtime stack and their configuration. Okay. Now, one more thing. Consideration. When should I use consideration? What should I consider while selecting app service? Please understand the app service plan and the pricing. Also, app service plan has another feature called deployment slot. Means for the single application, you can have dev environment, test environment, and production environment. Okay. After that, you can also use this not for just standard web application, but also for backend application for mobile app. Most of the mobile backend application are actually REST services. Okay, so you can build a REST service and consume it from a mobile Android or iPhone application as well. So it may or may not be simply the what we can call it a web or MVC application, but it could be a service also. It could also use web job to run a program or a script behind the scene. Okay, it's not much popular now, but the option is supported. Okay. Then there is also a built-in authentication and authorization capabilities. You can integrate Azure App Service with Azure Active Directory. Now, how we compare this to virtual machine? App Service can also run containers. But what is the difference? Running it in virtual machine will provide complete isolation, whereas running it in container will isolate it from the host machine where container itself is running. It will run in user mode, whereas if you use virtual machine, it will run with complete operating system. Deployment, containerized deployment use Docker. Virtual machine-based deployment will use some kind of deployment strategies, deployment tools, like let's say FTP, okay, or maybe CLI, or maybe DevOps CI/CD pipeline. For persistent storage, virtual machine use virtual hard disk or file share, and containers can also use Azure Disk and file share. Containers have built-in fault tolerance if you deploy them on container orchestration platform like Kubernetes, if you deploy it like on AKS, for example. Okay. Okay. Now we have these two options. Now, if you want to use container option in Azure App Services, you just have to select or you just have to provide it a right application image or container image. I do have one image. I will show you that later on. Then we have container instance. Container instance is independent container. The difference is Azure container instance is actually one quick deploy and run kind of solution. And unlike app services, container instance doesn't allow you to update the instance. There is only one way to update container instance. You need to delete the old container instance and replace it with the new container instance. That's how you will update it. That's the only way to update it. Now, when to use Azure container instance? Azure container instances are fast and easy. You can use them for testing and development. You can use them for short-lived processes, and you can also use them along with AKS for the overflow as a virtual node. But they don't scale. There is no scalability feature available in container instance. They don't even update. You have to delete and recreate the object if you want any kind of update or if you want to even scale it. Okay. Their only benefit is they are fast and easy to use. Okay. Okay. Now, Kubernetes service. Now, this is ultimate. Azure Kubernetes service allows you to run containerized workload, and it has lots of interesting features itself. To give you an example, I already have a Kubernetes cluster, and I will just show you the same one, the existing one. Now let me stop the virtual machine skill set. I no longer need it. And then instead of deleting it, I will delete the resource group where it is created. Do you know what is benefit of deleting entire resource group? Anyone? Yes.
It's easier than deleting individual resources.
Yes, it's easier because it will delete everything which is inside it. If you try to delete individual resource, many a time the resource will be deleted, but all the other related resources will stay back, right? Okay, now this is my cluster and I have already connected to this cluster from my system here. I have, by the way, Kubernetes is a different tool altogether, and we cannot discuss that here in this training because it's a very lengthy module. Here it is deployed or here it is available. I guess I have stopped it. I need to start, otherwise it will disconnect. Fine. I have a small application deployed here in Kubernetes. I will show you an example. These are my Kubernetes tables. Will take some time. So let's see now. Here it is. Okay, fine. I guess now it should be ready. Oh, don't know why it's taking so long. Okay, meanwhile, let me just go to the repository where I have everything. Is it move to some other place? Kubernetes demos. Okay, I guess I don't have this file with me anymore. Still not responding. Fine. Kubernetes can be used to deploy an application, and let me show you one example of how the deployment file looks alike. This is how you define your application for Kubernetes. Can you see the YAML file? Yeah, this is my application image. This is my application's container image. This is how you will set up the rolling update strategy. This is how many number of replicas I want, and it will deploy it. OK, you will use a tool called kubectl to do that. Now, it provides enterprise scalability. It provides automatic cluster node and pod scaling. What is automatic pod scaling? Containers will automatically increase in numbers whenever it is required, or decrease in numbers if required. OK, scaling up and scaling down container instances. OK. Okay. Then granular network control. You can even set up an internal network for all those components. That means those deployment, those pods, they literally have their own network inside Kubernetes cluster. We call it pod network. You can upgrade Kubernetes version with a single click, support external storage, and also can define ingress to route the traffic. Let me check if my cluster is now ready. Yeah, it's ready now. That's good. Let us apply this deployment file I talked about. This one. It's easy. You can even pick the URL and put it here. OK, this will deploy my application on Kubernetes. And let me show you some interesting facts now after application is deployed. Can you see for my application called deploy one, there are 3 copies of application running. Did you notice that? Hello?
Yeah.
OK, now let's say because of some reason, this particular instance went down. Let's delete it. Obviously, I'm just trying to mimic that behavior. Now tell me what is 3 minus 1?
2.
Yeah, but for Kubernetes, for this application, 3 minus 1 is equal to 3. Rather, even if you do 3 minus 3, answer will remain 3. This is called self-healing. What is self-healing? Kubernetes will automatically recreate the instance which has failed and make sure that you always have the required number of instances for your application. OK, let me run the get pod command again. How many instances are there? Can you pinpoint which one is new one? Look at the age property.
First one, 36.
Yes, because it's the new one. It was created 36 seconds ago, whereas all others were actually created 63 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Right? Fine. Fine. Now you won't be able to delete them all. If you want to delete them, you please delete the deployment object. What is the name of deployment object? Deploy one, and then they will get deleted. So it provides better control for your microservices, or it is ideal environment for microservices. In case if you want high availability, AKS will provide the high availability. Rather, you can do one more thing. You can deploy one AKS cluster in region 1 and another AKS cluster in region 2. Any idea why you should deploy the service in 2 regions instead of just one as your region? What is benefit? Yes.
You're asking benefits of multi-region deployment, is
Yes,
it?
yes, multi-region deployment. Why you should deploy your application in 2 regions at once? What benefit does it give? Yeah.
If one goes, one fails, then.
OK. High availability. If one region goes down, if one of your region goes down, it won't have a trouble. It will just, kind of spin up another one.
But what if we'll be having region-specific content there?
OK, if it is a region-specific content, then also you should create something called disaster recovery. That means region-specific means what? You may have a primary site of application and you might have a secondary site. Secondary site might be on other region, which is not 24/7 available. It will be used only when the primary is down. Getting my point? Hello?
Okay.
We call it recovery site. See, we are just trying to prepare ourselves for the scenario when entire region, because of some reason, entire region goes down. We want our application to be still available. Is that clear?
Multi-region, let's say I'll be saying India one region, US another region, like that, or how what do we mean by a multi-region? Like it's in different geographic location, right?
Yes, multi-region means it's a different geographic. Yes, that's right.
So it will be, I think the contents will be totally different, right? If
Yes, so contents would be different. That's right.
Contents will be different, services offerings will be different. So many
Yes.
things will vary. So how do we manage that?
Yes. Please remember, in this case, if you are using it in that way, wait, services. See, region here is not for individual customer. We are not talking about that. This is actually for disaster recovery scenarios. Here it is not like this one will serve one set of user and this one will set another set of user. It's not that. Here it is using same cluster having two copies and only one copy will be active at a time. And only when this copy goes down, then you will go to this copy. Now, why two different region then? Because what if there is a region-wide failure? Getting my point? I know it's completely rare. It's comparatively rare. But when some services in Azure fail, it doesn't fail in all regions simultaneously. Okay, it will fail only in one single reason. See, we are just preparing for business continuity here. There are few cases, like for example, a single host goes down. It's very possible. It can happen frequently. How to save your application workload from single host going down? Use availability set or availability zone. What is benefit? Your application will be split into multiple zones so that even if one host or one zone goes down, your application will still survive. Am I right? Yes?
Yeah.
Now, what if a single region goes down? Is your application safe if the region goes down? No, but it could be safe if your application already has two different regions. Is that clear?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, fine. Okay. Now, Azure function. Now, before we start talking about Azure function, tell me, have you heard about serverless? Do you know about serverless architecture or serverless computing?
Yeah, function as serverless, right?
Functions are serverless, but what is serverless? What benefit does it offer?
I mean, till the time it runs, we have to pay for it. After that, no need to pay for that. Nothing will be occupied or as and when required, we'll use, then we will release it.
See, I will tell you, yeah, you were actually right, but let me just refine it for you. Serverless means you don't need server all the time for your application. Your application will sit inside a storage account as a blob, as a storage blob. And only when it gets some kind of trigger that you now need to run, then it will go and sit on a server, do the task, and then again, leave the server and sit in your storage account. What is benefit of this approach? You will be using server extremely less number of times. Getting my point? Only when it needs to run. Otherwise, it's not required. So what benefit it does give?
We pay much lesser for this.
Yes. So only when your application need to run, then it will deploy it. Then it will deploy it. What we can say, deploy it on the server only when it is needed. Please remember function apps are therefore little tiny application, not a full blown application that need to run 24/7 on the server. So for small application, just run it. OK, and then what we can say, wait for it to get some trigger. As soon as it gets some trigger, it will deploy itself on server, run, and then it will again silently come down. This will actually have one very important impact, pricing impact or cost impact. Your cost would be extremely minimum. But please remember, if your application requires 24/7 presence, then please don't keep it on function app. You might end up paying more than your standard applications then. Is that clear? Because here you will be charged for every single execution. Every single time it receives a request, there will be a charge. So don't use it for standard web applications then.
The SQL servers and all also that is there in Azure, that also cost is calculated depending on the request they receive it, right?
There is a serverless module available. Yes, there is a serverless module available there. But please remember, serverless has some disadvantages as well. Please remember, when you use serverless, it is going to literally count how many times you send a request to it, and it will charge each one of them. Sometimes when you have heavy load, it is actually better to continue to run application on server and receive whatever number of requests it might get. Is that clear?
Okay.
Yeah. They can be scaled. Yes, tell me.
Let's say many users are uploading to Blob, and while at that point of upload in the Blob, function will be triggered.
Yes.
So if you are saying like once it gets triggered, it will do the work and go off, and there is a huge traffic, how do we maintain functions there? Should we go for function there, or in a heavy traffic scenario? Should we do that?
Heavy traffic scenario, please remember, in order to respond to that traffic, your function app will be scaled automatically to match the incoming traffic. And you might actually end up paying more than a standard application. Function app for the kind of application, please remember, let's say you have a kind of application which is not used very frequently, or its usage pattern is highly unpredictable. Like, for example, there is a kind of function in 1 month, it received 0 requests. In another month, it received 100 requests, and all the requests it received was, let's say, on just 1 or 2 days. Do you have any kind of highly unpredictable application like that? Okay. And one more thing, it should be small one, not the big application, the small use case. Then create function app for it. Is that clear?
If we fit a queue or message queue, which
Yes,
will trigger
it
the
uses
function.
message queue. Yes, you can use message queue as a trigger for function app. Okay.
So that will resolve this issue.
Yes, that will resolve the issue. But then again, depending upon traffic, it will make the cost, right? So don't use it for kind of application which requires heavy traffic all days, all month. That is what my main concern is. Is that clear?
So what should be the solution for that? Instead of function, what should be our preference?
Use the standard applications then, web app probably, or run it on VM then. Let me tell you why. The benefit of serverless is when your application run few times and then for many days it was sitting idle, not doing anything. If you do something similar to web app or VM, you have to go and shut it down. And if you don't shut it down, because anytime anyone can make a request, it will keep sitting, it will keep running, and it has a fixed charge that you have to pay per hour. Am I right?
Yeah.
Right. Whereas on serverless architecture, if it is not in use for 2 months, your cost will be 0 for those 2 months then. Getting my point?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got.
So Azure function, however, there is a programming API available that you have to build. Now, if you refer to Microsoft best practices, Microsoft says that don't create single Azure function app to do everything. You can even split it up some places, like one Azure function app that will receive the trigger, let's say HTTP trigger or message trigger, do some small processing and provide the output to, let's say, another application. Then another function app will get triggered and do rest of the task. Okay, kind of splitting down a single function into multiple function app. Okay. You know, splitting an application into 2 or 3 will make updates easier later on, whenever you need to update one of them, because they are separate. So you can update them without updating the other application. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. So that's the function. Now, logic app. Logic app are very similar to function app, but with one big difference. The difference is logic app involve no code. There is no coding involved. Logic app are GUI workflows. You can just drag and drop and create logic app with some limited set of features compared to function app. Also, logic apps are also serverless. That means they will be deployed and running on server only when it is needed. Otherwise, they will just sit quietly in your storage account. Okay.
No coding means how do we do it? Like, is it
there is a
block?
GUI editor. There is a GUI editor available for it. Let me show you that. So let's say if you want to create a logic app, go to logic app and create a logic app. Logic app has lots of GUI workflows or tasks that you can use. Actually, we call them connectors, not tasks. Let's put them all in app resource group. Let's call it my logic. It's a workflow, or it could be a container. Let's say it's a workflow, GUI workflow. Next, monitoring. If you want, you can provide the monitoring and the storage. Hosting is the storage. Monitoring I'm going to select now. Hosting option was Azure storage. Yeah, that's right. Let's create. This will create a storage account for Logic App and Logic App itself. Looks like there is some problem in here. Basic tab. Oh, this name is already taken by someone. I need to provide globally unique name, by the way. Let's wait. Okay, fine. I guess it's ready now. Validation has completed. We'll take a break after this.
I have a question in meanwhile.
Yes, tell me.
Yeah, actually, basically, I'm a .NET developer.
Okay.
Azure Solution Architect has a prerequisite of AZ104, I think, right?
Yes, it's not a mandatory one, but it will be better because in AC104 you are anyway going to learn how to create VM, app service, storage, etc. That's why.
So it's not mandatory.
No,
I
it's
can
not
I can
mandatory. It would be.
directly.
Yes, you can directly go and learn this one. Only thing is, then you will have to repeat, or then you will have to still learn everything that AZ104 teaches you, like how to create VM, how to create container, how to create app services, etc. Whereas there is
No,
no
not
much
about
practical.
learning.
Yeah. For certification,
No, I'm talking.
are you talking about
Yeah,
certification? No,
yeah.
but for certification, you should do AZ104 and AZ305. Okay.
So
Otherwise, it
first I
will
have to
just.
clear.
Yes, you have to clear both the exam. But best thing is you can clear them in any order. You can first appear for 305 and then appear for 104 in same year. It will still work.
So
Okay.
if I don't appear for 104 and I clear
Then
305, what is
then you
the
will
issue in
get.
that?
No, then you will get 305 exam certification, but you will not get certification saying you are Azure Architect. To get a certification, a tag of Azure Architect, you should do AZ104 as well. Okay.
So it's like any other exam for developers because when I hear it, it looks like admin. It says as Azure admin 104.
Yeah, Azure
So
admin.
for
Other one is 204. 204 is developer exam, but I'm not sure whether this one supports developer exam.
So you're saying easy and 104 is mandatory for solution architect.
Yes. If you want the solution architect certificate, then it is mandatory.
And And content will be pretty much same, or what will differ?
For which one? 204?
No, 104 and 305.
104 covers lot of practical aspect, right from VM, network, application, etc. Whereas there is less practical and more theory in 305. Okay.
So is it easy for a developer to take that 104? Does it have lot of admin and networking things?
No, networking things are there, admin things are there, but they are not in, kind of that depth as such. Okay.
Okay.
You can
Any developer
easily
can
do that
manage.
also. Developer can also manage that. Only thing is you will get trouble with networking concept initially. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
So let's do one thing. Let's see one logic app now, and then we'll take a break. Can you see my logic app is now ready? And did you notice there is a workflow available?
Yeah.
Let's go to the workflow. Now this is a GUI editor. Let's see what happens. A GUI editor. Let's add a new workflow. Let's create a stateless workflow and let's give it a name. Read log. You can give any other name, by the way. Create. Let's see now. Read block. This is the workflow. Now for this workflow, let me edit this. This is an empty workflow. Can you see the option for code? Yes.
Yeah.
You will notice it could be defined in JSON, but I'm little lazy. Let's use designer instead of JSON. Designer will actually literally allow me to do drag and drop. Let's wait for the designer screen to load. Okay, now what should be the trigger? You start with here. Now this is complete GUI. What should be the trigger? Now I want my trigger to be Azure blob. What should be my trigger? Can you see the available triggers under Azure blob? Sorry. When blob is added or modified in a storage account. I'm planning to use this. Yeah. Now here you need immediately a connection string. Let's give it a name connection string con1 and I need to provide Azure blob connection string. So let's do one thing. Let's open Azure portal in another browser window. And let's select one storage account. There is no coding involved, right? I'm doing everything with the help of GUI so far. Now for this particular connection storage account, let me check the connection string. How can I get connection string here? Access keys, and from access keys, let me choose connection string. I will get one from, wait a second, show. Let's copy this connection string and paste it here. This is how you will use the connection string. Okay. Yes. Now what is next? Next step, let's add an action. What should I do after I receive an update? Now I can run Azure automation account. I can call Azure function. I can send a message to Azure queue. Can you see that? Hello?
Yeah.
Now let's do one thing. Let's create a queue here. Yeah. Message queue. Let's call it events. Now you will notice the events message queue currently contain no messages. It's completely empty. That's because I have created it just now. There are no messages. Now, let's say here, I want to add a message to a queue. OK, now I need to provide connection string for the message queue storage account as well. So let's go back here. And this is actually basically in the same storage account. So same connection string will work fine. If it is in different storage account, use that storage account connection string. Copy and paste it here. And this is connection 2. So what I'm doing here, whenever there is a blob added or modified in my Azure storage, Azure blob account, I want it to immediately raise a message. Oh, wait, blob path format, some settings and some code view. Let's say blob path format. I want something, let's say images star dot images slash star. If anything like images is stored here. Fine. Yeah. Now let's save this logic app. Looks like there is some problem. Some parameters are required. Yeah. Event. Name of the event is queue name event. Message. Blob message, blob name. Blob name I want to display here. Then parameters, time to live. Let's not add any parameters. I guess this much is enough. Message to queue. Queue name event. Event is the name of queue. Let's save this. Okay, fine. Now the workflow is created. Let me try one thing. Let me open the storage account message queue in one window and blob storage in another window. This is message queue. Events. OK, I made a mistake. It's not event, it is events. Plural actually. It should be plural. And then save. OK, let's do this now. This is the message window. OK, now let me open another window that will now work as the other browser panel, portal.azure. And let's do one thing. Let's try to add one image here. The logic app will automatically get kicked in after I do that. So let's do one thing. In the storage account max unlimited, I'm going to add a new blob container. Let's create images. Press create. And then for the images, let me upload a new image. Image 1. OK, so I have uploaded a blob. Let's see what happens to my logic app. Is it sending a message now? Just trying a refresh button. OK. Let me check if it has actually executed. OK, looks like it has never run yet. Let's wait for it. Should run. Looks like I have done something wrong in here. It's not generating anything. Maybe the path it is trying to match That might be the reason. Let me try to upload one more. And what I will do is I will upload another image. Let's say image 2, and I will upload it here with a separate path. Images. Okay. And upload. Let's see. It will now appear as images / image 2. Images, and under images, image 2. Let's go and check if message got triggered now. Yes, no, it's not yet triggered. Something definitely wrong with my logic flow workflow. Let me try to manually run it. Let's see if it can run manually. Something wrong with the configuration. Okay, but what it is supposed to do is run every time a blob is added. Is that clear? Hello? Fine.
Yeah.
Fine, we'll take a break now here.
What time we are joining back?
Just 15 minutes at 4.
Okay. Okay, fine. Bye.
Yeah, I'm back now. Let's continue the discussion. Okay, so we were talking about the logic app. Are you all up? Are you all online right now?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So we will continue from here. Now, how the logic apps are different than function app, because it is similar. It's a serverless architecture. It will do small tasks, etc. But the first major difference is in function app, we use code first approach. We write a code, whereas in logic app, we create a design. Okay, so that approach is different. In logic app, we are actually creating an orchestration using GUI or editing the configuration file, which is JSON file. Okay, whereas in functions, some people call it them durable functions. In function app, you actually need to write a code and you'll have to be a developer who understands the language. Right now, Azure function app could be written in C#, could be written in Node.js, could be written in Java and Python. 4 programming languages are already supported. So you need to choose your favorite programming language, take the API and build it. Connectivity wise, logic app depends on connectors, whereas durable function has APIs to do that correction and binding. Monitoring is again same as your monitor, as your portal, and as your application inside you can use. Okay. Now, a case study. Let's say you, being a business analyst, you have to give a solution to your customer. Now, customer has an environment like this, a front-end application which is deployed on IIS web server, a middle tier application which is deployed on IIS, but this is a business logic application, and at backend they use SQL Server database. So how do you convert this into Azure services? What you will add? Any idea? Okay. Now, which Azure services you will recommend in here? Now, there are 2 solutions now. Number 1, you can have a solution like this. For this static website, you can deploy it on VM skill set. This can be deployed on VM skill set, and this could be an SQL database. Can you see the solution here? The first one on the top. Hello.
Yeah.
And this would be the on-premise. On-premise, you had middle tier with several servers and load balancers. Here, instead of independent servers, you will use VM skill set with Azure load balancer. Okay. Now, this is infrastructure as a service version. But what if you don't want infrastructure services? You don't want to manage the servers. What would be the other solution then? Any guess? Yes.
PaaS.
Yes, for PaaS services, but how? Now, this is the PaaS. You can probably convert your middle tier, which is used less frequently, into Azure functions that connects to database, and your main application could be a function, could be a standard Azure app, or you can have 2 Azure app, one as a middle tier one as a front end, and database will be SQL patch database. Is that clear? Yes. Obviously, the information which is available to us is very limited. With that limited information, we won't be able to actually give a correct architecture. But yes, this is one of the many possibilities. OK. OK. OK, fine. So this is all about this part of compute module. Any questions, anyone? Any questions, any queries? And did you try the VM skill set part demo? Hello?
Yeah.
OK, that's great then. Just give me a minute. I'm going to give you some activity to perform now. OK, I'm going to give you the case study that I'm referring here. You can access all those case studies from the GitHub repository URL. OK. These are the GitHub repositories, and let me share the URL with all of you. Let's study all those case studies. I have sent the URL with to all of you on the chat window. Can you try opening it right now on a browser window? These are the two case studies that we did today. Number one is about governance. Yes, these are all the details. OK. And number two was compute, the one that we were discussing just a few minutes back. Can you see that?
Yeah, it's
Hello?
able to open it.
It's able to open, right? OK,
Yeah.
fine. That's great. That's great. And there are no labs here. So instead of labs, they have included only the case studies. There are no labs actually. Fine. No worries. Let's see what we can do next. We can just cover the one more module in that case because it's only 412. Microsoft Learning 305 and number 3. Because later modules are little lengthy, so it is better if we complete some of the modules just now. It's better. Non-relational data storage solution. By the way, do you know what is non-relational data or non-relational databases? Or have you worked with any non-relational database? Any one of you? Hello.
No, Shandar, I haven't.
No, nothing else.
OK, no worries. Let me tell you what we call it. NoSQL database is basically a new way of database or new format of databases. What they basically do, they don't actually use a standard relational database model, RDBMS, but instead they will use a quite different model. Now, what that quite different model it is? The quite different model that they have, right? They use a different architecture. Their schema is totally flexible. It's not like if you create a table and later if you add data into it, then you can't make changes. You can still make changes. Okay. Now, let's see from this presentation. Non-relational database. Now, there are lots of non-relational databases or different data storage technique. Now, actually, NoSQL is a part of non-relational, you can say, but NoSQL is still a database. And there is a raw storage, which is available using Azure Storage, blob, files, etc. Let's discuss them first, the raw storage. Then we'll discuss NoSQL and SQL databases later. So when you store your data, there are three ways your data can be stored. You can have structured data, which is RDBMS. You can have semi-structured data, which is NoSQL databases, which can internally use something like XML, JSON, YAML, or in case of special NoSQL databases like MongoDB, they have their own format called BSON, BSON. Okay, it's a NoSQL databases. They are flexible schema database. And then unstructured data. For unstructured data, Azure uses blob storage or file share. Okay. Okay, fine. Now, okay, fine. So for structured data, you have lots of options. You have MS SQL, you have MySQL, you have PostgreSQL database. Have you used any of these databases for structure? MS SQL, MySQL, PostgreSQL, any database?
No.
Okay, fine, no worries. All these are databases which are very popularly used by developers, or you might have used something like Oracle DB. Oracle is also having their own enterprise edition database. Okay. Okay. Then semi-structured and then unstructured. So let's say unstructured data, we have Azure Storage Account. Azure Storage Account provides unstructured data to us. Unstructured means you can store binary files, text file, images, anything into it. It's not a database as such, but you will keep your data safe. And you know what is greatest strength of Azure Storage Account or unique feature of Azure Storage Account? There are many features, but one is Azure Storage Account has built-in replication. What it has? A built-in replication. Now, what do you mean by the built-in replication?
LRS, GRS.
Yes, yes. LRS, GRS, ZRS, etc. So what basically is it?
So is it dependable on the type of backup frequency that we use? Like ZRS, GRS, of course.
Yes. Blob storage is used for many different purposes and backup is one of them. You use blob storage or you use storage account for backups. Or rather, you will be surprised to know in Azure, this unstructured data is actually the data store behind even the structured data. Like Azure SQL database, Azure Cosmos DB database, which provide MongoDB API, they all internally use this storage account only for internal storage. Okay. Yeah. Let's see now. Okay, so what is different kind of versions or different types of storage account available now? As you can see from the screen, we have general purpose V2 storage. We have premium blob, premium file share, premium page blob. Supported nature or supported services. Standard general purpose V2. In case if you prefer to use this one over here, its main use is for the binary blobs, data lake storage, queues, table, and Azure file. Queues, table, and Azure file are just other services that it offers other than blob. And it is recommended in most common scenarios. One single storage account giving you all these features. Then you have premium blob, which will only give you blob and data lake. There is no support for table, file share, and queues. Or you can go with premium file share that will give you only Azure files, not blob. Is that clear? Yes. Is that clear, everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm. Okay, so how do we use this and what are the basic key points that you need to understand before you create storage account? Some of the important point is location. Why location is important while creating storage account or for creating storage account? How it will matter if I choose wrong location for my storage account?
Latency might be the issue
Yes,
for all the
latency.
request response.
Yes, latency will be the issue. What will happen is if you create a storage account in wrong region, let's say your application is running in South India and your storage account is in Australia, and your application has to frequently read and write data from that storage account which is in Australia. Obviously, it will have higher latency. compared to storage account which is already in nearby region. Compared to storage account in nearby region, this one will give you higher latency. Okay. Now, compliance. What is compliance? An organization might have its own governance policy, which might restrict where to keep your data. Now, if your organization says that we never use Australia data center, then don't use it. Right? And if you have to use it, then either create an exception or change your policy. Is that clear? Yes. Yeah. Okay. Now, what is next? Cost. Setting for the account to influence the cost of services. Please remember, Azure storage is highly flexible. You can scale it up and scale it down. How do you manage cost in that part? When you start the storage, start with smaller size, and whenever required, keep scaling up for more and more storage. Am I clear? Hello?
Yeah.
Right? So you can just scale up whenever additional data is required. There is one more thing, by the way. With data, a very common problem that we get, or very common issues that we have with data, is many a time we keep on adding new data without deleting or without cleaning old unwanted data. You know what happens in that case? When you don't delete your old data, your data keeps on, or your data size keeps on increasing. And then there will be a time then you have to scale it up and pay extra for it. So you should periodically do that. Now, this is something that happens with nowadays almost all Android phone. You purchase a phone with, let's say, 64 GB storage, and within a year, all the storage is occupied. And now you wonder which contents to delete and which one to keep. Right? Azure also it will happen. But please remember, even though your vendor, your cloud provider has virtually large or limitless storage, it's not actually limitless. There is always a limit, but they can scale it up further. There is enough capacity for you, but please don't go for it, because with higher capacity, your cost will also increase. Am I right? Yes. Okay, fine. One more, the replication. What is replication here? Replication means data storage could have a different replication strategies. You can have locally redundant, you can have geo redundant, or you can have, let's say, zone redundant storage as well. You will have to decide what level of replication you need. Now, what is benefit of choosing replication strategy like LRS, ZRS, and GRS? Any idea, anyone? Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Okay, so replication, you will have to choose a right size of or right level of replication for all your storage account. Replication means there will be minimum 3 copies of storage maintained either locally or remotely or other region. Let me explain that with the help of a diagram. Let's say you have one Azure region. Let's say this is your Azure region. Now, do you know that most of the Azure regions have something called availability zone? Let's say your Azure region has 3 availability zones inside it. Okay, most of them have 3. There are 3 availability zones within a region. Okay, now this is, let's say, your region number 1. I will move the text to the bottom side, and these are zone 1, zone 2. This is zone 2, and this one is zone 3. Getting my point? Hello? Yes, everyone? And then I have another region, let's say region 2. Now region 2 also has its own availability zone like this one. Let's make the text appear a little bit bigger. I will make it a little bigger here, right? Okay, so region 1, region 2 both have availability zones of their own. Okay, now what will happen if you are using LRS? What will happen if you are using LRS? In locally redundant storage, you will have all the 3 copies of your storage in only one single zone. Is that clear? Hello?
Yeah.
Now, you know what is disadvantage of LRS storage? Disadvantage is your all 3 copies of your storage are in same zone. And if this zone goes down, all your data will be suffering due to it. Am I clear? Hello? How many copies you get? 3, and all 3 copies in same region and in same zone. Next one is ZRS. In ZRS, things are different. How different they are? There will be 1 copy in each availability zone. Getting my point? Hello?
Yeah, understood.
Right? So benefit of ZRS is that even if one of the zone goes down, let's say one of the zone is unavailable, this will not actually affect your data. Why? Your data is already safe. There are other 2 copies here in zone 2 and zone 3. That is ZRS, zone redundant. Then we will have one more. Let's just clone this, duplicate, and let's call it GRS. In GRS, other than these 2 copies or other than these 3 primary copies, now this is, let's say, primary copy, primary 1, primary 2, and this one is primary 3. Other than these 3 primary copies, oh, wait a second, it is GRS. In GRS, all the primary copies will be still in same zone. Is that clear? Yes. And the secondary copy will also be in the same zone. Secondary. Now you will notice one thing, even though GRS provides better, you can say, availability, right? But still there is a problem. All the 3 secondary copies are in the same region, and all the 3 primary copies are also in the same zone. Sorry, not region, same zone. This is how GRS looks like. Then Azure introduced a hybrid model. We call it GZRS. What is GZRS? GZRS is where primary copies will be distributed in 3 availability zones, but secondary copy will be in same zone. Am I clear? Hello? Now, just for your understanding, let me show all the diagrams again to you. This is LRS. This is how LRS looks like. This is how ZRS looks like. This is how GRS looks like. And this is how GZRS looks like. Clear? Hello?
Yeah, understood.
Yeah. And there is one more thing, RA, read access GRS. Only difference is in all these models, client or any application can only access primary, not the secondary. Client can access only the primary copy. Getting my point? Yes. So let me copy the same thing here, and let me copy same thing here, and let me copy same thing here. Whereas if you follow RAGRS, what is benefit of RAGRS? RAGRS benefit is other than primary, client can also access secondary, but secondary access is read only. That means on secondary URL, client will not be able to perform any write operation. Client can only perform read operation. And the primary copy is read plus write, both. Am I clear? Is that clear now? Okay. Then administration overhead. Administration overhead means each storage account needs some time to perform some kind of maintenance. There are lots of administration activities like creating storage account, or let's say accessing the connection string, or changing connection string for your storage account, updating the storage account connection string, or maybe changing the access policy for your storage account, scaling it up and down, etc. Depending upon how much administrative overhead you have, you can choose how many storage account you want to use, or which version of storage account you want to use, or what kind you want to choose. Then security. Security is very important. And guess what? Azure storage account takes security very seriously. Do you know that in Azure storage account, data is encrypted both at rest and at transit? Can anyone explain me what is meaning of encryption in transit and encryption at rest? Anyone? Yes. Encryption in transit means by default, storage account uses TLS to encrypt all the communication. Encrypt the HTTP communication. So basically, instead of HTTP, it can use HTTPS, so that any communication between storage account and its client will be automatically encrypted. And then storage account also provides encryption at rest. Encryption at rest. Encryption at rest is provided at two levels actually. First level, SSE, storage encryption, which is default and cannot be disabled. And then there is an optional one, disk encryption. Optional but recommended. Okay, what is disk encryption? The typical Windows machines will use BitLocker, and Linux machine will use a different tool to encrypt it. So encryption is also built into it. Let's see this. I have already explained you the redundancy part. You have any question about redundancy here? Locally redundant, geo redundant, zone redundant. Anyone, any questions?
No.
Okay then. Now next. Blob storage. Storage account has 4 different types of services. Blob, that is containers, file share, messages, and queues. Blob storage is used for binary data. Now, when I say binary data, blob storage is ideally used for large volume of data. So let's say you want to keep audio video files, you want to keep any kind of binary files into it, right? It will use blob. Okay. Here again, you have number of tiers, like we have premium tier, we have standard hot tier, standard cool tier, and we have archive tier. Okay, now let's see this. So storage cost for premium storage is actually high. Okay, but at the same time, the retrieval cost is less. That means number of read operations that you perform. Rather, there are some pricing plans where read operations are free. Whereas if you use standard archival tier, in archival tier, storage costs are lowest, but transactional costs are higher. Okay, you use archival tier for backups. Okay, archival tiers are used only when in case of a backup. Okay. Storage duration. There is no specific duration for premium and hot standard. You can keep it for any as long as you wish. But standard pool and standard archive, there is a duration of roughly around 30 days or more. Actually, you can even decide these days. You can also provide your own numbers over there. You can create a lifecycle rule there. I will show you how it is done basically. So let's say I have created a storage account, and for that storage account, I will go and add some blob lifecycle rule. So what I'm planning to do in here, basically, I will go one thing. I will go to the storage account here, the blob, and in the blob, if I just scroll down, there is an option for blob lifecycle. Where is it? Okay, let's just search for it. L-I-F-E, life. Did you get the option here, lifecycle management? Yes. Now under lifecycle management for this storage account, I can create a new rule. Let's create a new rule. And here in this rule, I will just give it a name. Let's say it's rule number 1 for all the blobs, for all the block blobs. And now I'm creating a rule. If there is a blob or if there is a file which is last modified 15 days, that means file is not modified for 15 days, then what I want it to do, I want that file to be transferred to cool storage. Then if it is not modified for more than 30 days, then I want it to move to archive tier. Am I clear? Which tier? Archive tier. And then if it is not used for, let's say, 60 days, then I want to delete the file. Is that clear? What is the benefit of this?
Cost.
Yes, it will improve your cost because data in hot tier will
Even
cost you more.
archiving hold consumes the cost, right? But it
No.
will be less, right?
Yeah, comparatively less. See, hot tier will be having higher cost, cool tier will have low cost, and archive tier will have lowest cost. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can create this type of what we call it algorithm or rule to define all those values. You can also provide immutable storage policies. Now, what is immutable storage policies? Immutable storage policies means you can say that I don't want my blob to be modified, or I don't want my particular blob to be, let's say, delete. Do you know, for some kind of industries, there is a statutory requirement. Okay, like for example, do you know what happens when a bank account is closed? Do you think bank is simply going to delete the record? No, it has to still maintain that data. Getting my point? Yes, you are just doing one thing. You are just changing its status from operating account to closed account, but data is still there. Okay, so similarly, you can create this type of immutable storage policies in Azure storage as well, which will allow you to, not allow any write or delete operations on the particular storage account. So you can provide the duration for which you want to hold on that particular block. Let's say, for example, is that clear? Yes. Oh, sorry, this is policy. We are looking for immutable storage. Okay, there is no option directly available here. Let's go to the containers. And these are the containers. Access level, access policy. No, this is a different access policy actually. Yeah, here it is. Can you see the immutable blob storage policy? Here I can say that this particular policy, I want to legally hold on it. Legal hold means this particular data, I never want it to get deleted, right? So you need to add a tag. Let's say hold. Allow protected append right to none or block and append logs. So this will make the block not to be deleted or written into. This is another interesting concept in AZ305. Then blobs are OK for accessing files, binary files, large files. But when it comes to accessing the files, Azure file share is better than blob. Why? What is the difference here in Azure file? Azure file will allow you to actually mount it. Okay, so Azure file share will simply make it easily accessible, basically. Okay. What it will do is it will allow you to mount it as a network drive, basically. Just give me a minute. Okay, now. So Azure file share can be mounted into a file system properly. Now, when it is actually mounted, you can use it as a network drive. You people must have used network drives, right? Like Z drive, P drive, Q drive. Okay, in Windows machine. Best thing is Azure file share already support the available protocols like SMB protocol, which is widely used protocol for network file share, or REST protocol, or network file share 4.1 protocol. It becomes much easier. You just add it to your machine as a new drive and use it like a normal local storage. Azure Blob Storage, however, is better for operations like large-scale analytic data, throughput sensitive high performance computing data, backup data, autonomous driving, media rendering, genome sequencing data, etc. Blob also support NFS REST and data lake storage, which is used in data engineering, big data solutions, basically. Performance wise, Azure file provide better IOPS, whereas blob storage provide better throughput. And that's why they are better for handling large files, individual large file. Azure file share is better at handling multiple small files. Again, for file storage, there are tiers, like there is a hot tier, there is a cool tier, there is a transaction optimized tier, and there is a premium tier. Under premium tier, you get better performance, better IOPS, but at higher cost. Transaction optimized is just one level below premium. Transaction optimized provides better IOPS and better rate of transactions, and also cheaper transaction comparatively. Hot tier will give you better transactions or IOPS than cool tier, but not as good as transaction optimized or premium tier. And their cost will also be relatively less. And cool is the cheapest option here in this particular slide. Okay. Now, there is also an option available in Azure now, NetApp File Service. NetApp File Service is an enterprise class high performance metered file storage. That means depending upon how much data you ingest, your price will be based on that. And it is very commonly used on migration activities, because you know what? In case of application and database migration, you will be moving several GBs or PBs of data from on-premise environment to cloud. And this NetApp file share will actually help you to move data safely, securely. So migrating Windows applications, SQL database, Linux machines, apps, database, SAP, you can use NetApp service, or you can use it for HPC workload or Azure virtual services or virtual desktop services, Azure platform services, etc. Now, file share can be created easily. Have you ever created any file share earlier? This is how file share is created, by the way. Go to the storage account, go to file share, and you can create a file share like this. Let me hit the file share button and let me create a new file share. Let's call it my files. And then after it is created, I'm going to assign it some amount of storage. Initially, it is created 5 terabyte, but I guess 5 terabyte is too huge. Let's edit the quota amount and let's make it only 5 GB instead of 5 TB. That's better. And then you can even upload files into it. What if you need to add it as a network drive? Now, this is very important. Pay attention. What if you want to add it as a network drive in a Windows machine? Hit the connect button and it will give you the required script. This is the script. This is a PowerShell script that you just have to copy and paste in your PowerShell environment, and it will just run and do the necessary things. Is that clear? Hello? Yes?
Yeah, it's
similarly, it actually gives you script for Linux and Mac as well. Yeah, you had some question?
Yeah, exactly. So regarding this file share, right? My question might be little irrelevant actually. So we have an environment, okay, where we have created the file share inside the server. Okay, and we have shared it. Okay, but the problem is like it's not able to access from other VMs actually, and it's not accessible inside the VM itself, which means like //IP and then the folder name. So is that related to the SMB issue or something else?
See, most
might
of
be
the
irrelevant.
time,
Just asking you.
No, that's not irrelevant, totally irrelevant. Most of the time, issue is with your network.
Okay.
Most of the time, issue is with the network. Let me tell you my personal experience here. Okay. To give you an example, there was a scenario like this. There was an on-premise network. Okay, this is the on-premise network. On-premise network means on your own data center. And there was a machine in this on-premise network. Okay, this was the local virtual machine, you can say. And these people, they created Azure file share on cloud. Obviously, Azure file share is a cloud service. And then they were complaining that they are not able to add this file share to this local VM. You know the reason? Reason is Azure file share actually use a special port called HTTPS port 445, and that too outbound port. Getting my point? Right now, what happened is they had two problems. Problem number one, their on-premise network was not connected to Azure network. There was an Azure VNet which have been created to provide access to this file share. So I told them that you have to set up some kind of connectivity between these two, either VPN or express route. Obviously, express route is a very costly service. So VPN. Provide some kind of connectivity so that this machine can at least access it by the IP or DNS name, and then create a firewall rule that will allow traffic, outbound traffic on 445. Now, if it is Azure VM, you don't have to worry about this. It's already enabled. But if it is an on-premise machine, you have to verify this. And by the way, every time you create a file share and try to connect it, please remember this is already mentioned somewhere here. Can you see this?
Yeah.
You will have to check whether you have this particular protocol, particular port opened already. Am I clear?
Yeah. Got
Yeah.
it.
Just a minute. Okay, now, so port 445, which is the port SMB use, you need to make sure that it is done. Otherwise, you can use options like point-to-site VPN, site-to-site VPN, or express route, any three of these things. In case if you have the problem, even with VPN, they have given a documentation link here on how to troubleshoot that, because this is a very common problem that people face. Okay.
So what about like Windows file sharing? Actually, I will check this port, okay, with the network.
Yeah.
team.
Windows
So
file
what
sharing.
about
Windows file
for
sharing, I
Windows
don't
file
think there
sharing?
will
I
be a
means
problem.
like inside the server itself.
Okay,
if we
fine. Understood. Let me tell you. For Windows file sharing, you have to go to network discovery from the control panel. It is about
Okay.
Windows administration, basically.
Mhm.
Open the old control panel, and in old control panel, look for network and sharing center.
Okay.
Okay. In network and sharing center, you will have to, I don't know where the option is right now. You will have to actually add here file sharing options. Now, where are the options here? Let's say advanced sharing setting. And here, turn on file and printer sharing. Can you see this?
Yeah. This one also we enabled actually.
You
So
have
my doubt
enabled
is
it.
like, do we need SMB version 1? I mean, do we need
No.
SMB for this file sharing?
Yeah, you need SMB, but as far as I know, in Windows, as soon as you enable file and printer sharing, SMB is automatically configured for you. You don't ever have to install SMB.
Okay. But I heard one thing like particularly on not for this AWS VM, I mean Windows VM, but for Azure VMs, this SMB is by default disabled.
Yes, by
We can't
default
install.
No, it
Okay,
is
so
enabled. No, it can be enabled. Rather, I will tell you one thing. As soon as you RDP into any Windows RDP, Windows VM using RDP on Azure, have you seen most of the time immediately after login, it shows a yellow bar on the right side? Have you seen that? And it
yellow
says whether
bar.
you want, yeah, yellow bar that will cover this much part of the screen. Right? And it will give you a message. Do you want this particular machine to be discoverable on local network? Oh, yes and no. Okay or cancel.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So that time you have to press OK if you want it to be discoverable and perform file sharing, printer sharing. And in case if you forgot that, or if it is skipped, go to the control panel and enable it. Now, I don't have any Azure VM right now. So I will do one thing. I will just create
SMB
a
is
VM.
must, is it?
SMB is must, yes. Without SMB, without the right tool, it will not allow any kind of file and disk sharing. Okay, I have a
because we
demo here.
created a dummy VM as well. We created a dummy VM and tried to install this SMB from roles and features. It's not allowing actually. It's showing like source file not found.
No, it should not happen that way. I guess this is highly customized one. I don't even know what is happening here in that VM. I will create a fresh one. This is a fresh Windows VM. I will show you a demo how file sharing works anyways. Let's say this is my test VM. Okay. And this VM is going to be in East US. The reason why I'm using East US is I have done some major changes to my subscription, and now it doesn't allow me to use Indian data center or Southeast Asia as well. So I'm left with West and West US and East US. Let's use an older version, Windows Server 2016. OK, generation 2, 64-bit. And let's use decent size VM. Username is, let's say, Mahindra, and password is my same old password that I use every time. OK, everything else is fine. RDP protocol is enabled right now. Just a minute. Yeah, so let's finish the VM creation. Go to networking. OK, a new network it will create. That's fine with me. OK, rest everything I can just skip and create the VM quickly. Yeah, here it is. Create. It will take some time for the VM to be ready. OK, my VM is ready now. Now for this test VM, let me connect it using RDP. Now pay attention, because first time when I do the RDP session, it's going to give me this pop-up on the right hand side. Test VM is ready. Let's get inside the test VM. Username, there is a different username. This one. And password. Okay. Let's wait for the RDP connection to successfully. Yeah, it's getting inside now. First login will obviously take few seconds time. It's creating the user profile. Okay, done. Now the desktop appear with the right hand side yellow screen that I will explain you. I don't know whether it is yellow or it is a different color. Earlier it used to appear with yellow background. Let's wait for it. Blue background. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Blue background. Windows blue color, right? Let's wait for it. It will open once the desktop is ready. So it didn't appear. Okay. Let's wait. Might take some time. If I click anywhere, it will, kind of hide it or collapse it, right? Yeah, now this is it. Do you want to allow PC to be discoverable to other PC and devices on the network? Can you see this? Yeah. Within a private network, do you want to allow network discovery? Say yes to it. Okay. Now this machine can be accessed from another machine on the same network. Otherwise, machine will remain totally hidden from the other machines. Now that this part is done, let me do one thing. Let's go to the File Explorer. And let's see how many drives or how many, you can say, local disk we have. I don't want manager. This PC. And we have C drive and we have D drive, which is a temporary storage. Okay, which is used for page file, etc. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's minimize this. And let's now go for the storage account. Here is the storage account. Inside storage account, I will go to Max Unlimited. From Max Unlimited, I will go to File Share. Here it is. And let us select one of the file share here. This is one of the file shares, my files. Now that I have selected it, what I will do is let's hit the connect button, Windows, and let's download the script. I can just copy this entire script, go back to this window here. And let's open a new PowerShell. I need to make sure that PowerShell window that I open is administrator PowerShell. Can you see administrator word? Okay, fine. Paste entire script here. Oh, I don't know why it's not working. Let's copy again. In that case, copy and then paste again. Oh, it's done already while I was not looking. Here the bracket will close. Oh, wait, is it looking for one more bracket? It's not working. OK, let's do it one by one instead of entire script. Okay. So what I will do, let's do the connectivity check. Let's see if it is reachable. This should return true for us. Connection result test. Oh, wait, why computer name is missing? Oh, sorry, this is single line. Not two lines actually, but the single line it is. Now it should work. This is just to test the connectivity, nothing more than that. Okay, it looks like it's taking much long time. Don't know why. Or maybe I just waiting for me to press enter or something.
Meanwhile, could you please try to install SMB?
Yeah, let me try. I can do it two ways, either using PowerShell or using Server Manager. I will use Server Manager because I don't know exact module name. So let's use the GUI, much easier. SMB, let us press
It will be in
S and
features.
Features.
Yeah, next.
Okay, fine. I'll just click the next. Under features.
Come down.
Yeah, SMB is there.
Yeah.
SMB CIFS sharing support. You need to specify source path. Why? Why do you need a source path here?
I think you can install it.
Okay, install button is anyway enabled. On-premise version, we normally install all this thing from Windows installation CD or Windows installation source. Okay, looks like it's taking some time. Anyway, I don't think the script requires all that thing, or maybe the script will install all the necessary packages on its own. It's a really lengthy script, by the way. No, it looks like it's not installing anything, just a normal script. Can you see that? Hello?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I'll do one thing. Port 445. The storage account is accessible, which is port SMB use. If it is available, your file share will be persistently mounted. Okay. Fine. So let's try again on the PowerShell window. Oh, wait. Better option would be just copying it inside a notepad and then use it. Line by line.
You please try this command for this SMB one.
Wait a second. Okay. Get Windows optional feature online SMB1 protocol. Fine.
Yeah.
Another installation is still going on. Let's see.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, fine.
That other installation is also going on, right?
Yeah.
I don't know whether it is done or it is stuck.
No, usually it will not take this much time.
Yes. State is disabled, required, restart required possible. Support for SMB 1.0 CIFS protocol support. Okay, fine. Let's do one thing. Let's restart it. But before restart, looks like my application, my VM is very slow. I will just try to scale it up first, because it's running extremely slow. And do you know that resizing or scaling it up also will automatically restart it anyways?
Yeah, of course. In memory, it's making changes, right?
Yes. So let's change the size. Don't have to restart separately. The resize operation will automatically restart it as well. Let's use one with 2 CPUs and 4 GB RAM. Or 2 CPUs and wait a second. Yeah, 4 CPUs and 16 GB RAM. Now it cannot complain for performance any like CPU or memory wise. 4 CPU and 16 GB RAM is more than enough for what kind of task we are going to perform. Okay, now I guess it should be done. Let's go and check that quickly. Oh, wait, why it is still taking so much time? I'm also very less or very low on Azure credits. I have to do about it. Probably I should just go and delete my Kubernetes cluster, which is taking up a lot of Azure credits for me. Because if I lose all the credits, I won't be able to use my subscription, right? You know that. Deleting it now.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Therefore, yes.
Right. So I will just go and check the VM once again, virtual machines. If it is done, this is my test VM. Also, this VM I don't need. Okay, and for this one, the status is shown as updating. It's not yet ready. It is still updating. It's really taking literally longest here. I don't know whether I have installed so much things in them. Fine, no worries. We'll not wait for it. Let's just continue discussing few more points and then we'll come back here. Azure Disk Solution. Azure Disk is a type of storage which is used with a VM. You can add additional data disk to your VM. Every VM gets OS disk by default. Adding an additional disk provides you a kind of a feature. When, like, for example, in future, if you delete the VM and replace it with the other one, you can still use your same old, what we call it, data disk with it. So it's possible to delete a VM and use that data disk with another new VM. That is the only benefit here. Again, we have pricing plans: cheaper, standard HDD, standard SSD, premium SSD, and ultra disk SSD, which is going to provide the best performance of them all. Storage security wise, as I said, you can have customer managed keys, service endpoint to control which network can access your storage and which network cannot access the storage, and you can put them behind the network firewall. That's about the storage. Now, there is a case study like last time. Let's say there is a client which says we have different type of data. We have media files, which are product photos and features, videos, JPGs, etc. We have marketing literature, which is customer storage, sales flyers, sizing chart, eco-friendly manufacturing information, and most of the time data is stored in PDF format. And then we have corporate documents, which are mostly office format like Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Now, do you think we should write all this data to relational database or non-relational database? Hello?
This is NoSQL data.
Not NoSQL, not NoSQL either. It is non-structured raw data. You will be using mostly either blob storage or file share for them. Yeah. Getting my point?
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
Can you tell me which one must be a file share out of these three?
Corporate documents.
Yes, corporate document should be file share. What is benefit? If you create it as a file share and if you add it inside certain machines, then only those machines will have access to those file share, right? And number two, those people who are using those machines or laptops or a desktop or virtual desktops, right? They will not even feel that it's a remote document or remote location. They will feel like it's just in their Z drive or P drive. Getting my point? Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas there is a 50-50% chance that your marketing literature can be also file share, but I believe it is better as a blob storage. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Hello? Yes. And
Yes.
media files are definitely blob storage. Why they are definitely blob storage? Why
This is
media should?
also non-relation
No, not
data.
that. Not that. They all are non-relational, but because they are JPGs and MP4s, binary files. And guess what? Blob has one more feature. It supports streaming. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why it becomes a valid solution. So what you can do is you can put them on storage account like that. Now, what are the type of data represented? What kind of data you are using? You are using binary media files. You are using PDF, Word document. All that you have to consider. Now, this is a solution here. A storage account with web app, a file share, and blob storage. OK, so you will keep all your data in a storage account. Some data will go to file share and some data will go to blob storage. In this case, one more thing. How frequently do you use that data? Let's say marketing literature is stored but not much frequently used. Then it will go to cool storage. Whereas media files are frequently accessed by application, so they will go to hot tier. Is that clear? Hello?
Yeah.
You know the thing about marketing literature? Once a marketing literature gets old, it is used only for a reference. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Like let's say you have created sales flyers. Now, what is this sales flyers? In India, we call them sales brochures. OK, like your organization has created some new plans. OK, for let's say festival offer plan, and you have distributed the brochures to all your potential customers. But those brochures have no meaning after 2 or 3 months. Am I right? Hello?
Yeah.
In that case, some of the data which gets old, you can put it to archive tier. And some data which is still somehow relevant, you will put it in cool. And some data that is frequently accessed, people will be accessing it via application, you put it in hot tier for better access. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Yes. OK. Now, let me just go back and check the VM. Yeah, now VM is ready. That's good. Let's connect to the VM now. Let's do this activity and then we'll wind up today's session. I have logged in here. Let's go to the remote desktop. Here I am in the remote desktop now. Taking time. Okay, let it take some time. This time I'm going to do a smart work. I will open a notepad and I will use it as a kind of a clipboard. Now, where is my file share? For this file share now, let me use the connect button. It's a Windows account, show script, copy entire script at once and paste it here in a notepad. So that I can, easily copy paste it. Wait a second. I don't know why, but everything is taken as one single line. This is actually bad.
There is a view word wrap will be there, I think.
No, word wrap will not help me because when the script will run, there are line breaks required at certain lines. Otherwise, script will totally give me an error message. Getting my point?
Okay.
Because there are
Yeah.
more than one command inside it. Okay.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Right. So it has to be properly formatted or else it will not run. Okay, this is the first line that I will run. Oh, wait, why is the red flag? Feature installation has failed, I guess. Let me close this also. And let's run it one by one. First, I will run the test. Okay, now it has started the test. Testing connectivity with this particular IP address. Wait for it. Okay, let's check what is the result of the test. Can you see the result? TCP test succeeded? Yes, that means I can go ahead and run this entire if-else block. Press enter. Why it is actually doing this? The copy paste is not working properly. Did you notice that? Hello?
Yeah.
Looks like there is
Yeah.
only one way. I will just use ISC environment then. PowerShell ISC. Windows PowerShell ISC. Why I didn't do that initially? Anyway. Here it is. Let's open the script pack panel. Copy paste entire script here. Okay, everything is copied correctly. Fine. Now let's run it as one single unit. What is this now? Oh, sorry, the connection string is no longer there, right? I need to copy entire script. The variable connect test result is actually missing. How about I just remove the if else and run just this thing? It's anyway done successfully, right? Don't have to worry about if else anymore. Line number 9, character number 1. Oh, the round bracket was unneeded, not needed actually. Yeah, done already. Can you see the success message? It is now added as a Z drive. That's good. No need to save anything here. Let's open the file explorer and you will notice there is a new drive later now. This PC, there is C drive, there is D drive, and there is now a network drive called My Files. If you double click on it, here it will appear as Z drive. Can you see that? Hello?
Yeah.
Right. Now let's do something. Let's go to the Z drive, and in this Z drive, let's create a folder called data. And then inside the data folder, I will create some file. Sorry, I will just add some file. Add content. Path is equal to, or path is file1.txt, and the value is hello world. Oh, wait, semicolon was totally unnecessary. Yeah, file is created, fine. Now what will happen if I go to the file share? I will be able to see this file here in the file share. Can you see data folder? And inside data folder, can you see file1.txt? Hello?
Yeah.
What if I try to upload something here?
Yeah, we can.
Now, whatever I upload here, if I go back here and try dir, you can see the content already uploaded. Yes? Oh, image is not valid. Fine, it's just a placeholder, 1 KB size. What all could be there? Fine, but I am able to do the copy paste. Understood? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah. Any questions, anyone?
So far good.
Fine, good. So tomorrow we'll connect again at the same time, and we will continue from the next module, which is about storage. I will try to add some more demos into it because without demos, it's all theory only. Okay. I will share some demos with you, the older demos, and we will just do some little bit practical with this. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. And make sure that you all have your Azure passes activated. Okay. You can either activate them now in evening time or maybe tomorrow. Okay. Fine.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it then. Have a good day.
Sure. Thank you, Sandeep.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.